My name's Kimberley Walsh and you're listening to 11, the official theatre podcast.
Hello and welcome to 11, the official theatre podcast that brings the biggest stars and creatives together in one place to discuss life in the arts. Our guest today is a dancer, West End leading lady, and also happens to be a member of one of the biggest pop groups ever. After being thrust into the spotlight in 2002 when she auditioned for and won a place in the winning girl band on Popstars The Rivals, she went on with her fellow bandmates to bag 20 consecutive top 10 singles, including 4 number ones in the UK alone. They also had 6 studio albums certified platinum, 2 of which went straight to number 1. She also has 5 BRIT Award nominations alongside the group winning Best Single with their song, The Promise. The group was also, of course, Girls Aloud. Making no secret she's a theatre fan at heart, she stepped centre stage to make her West End debut playing the signature role of Princess Fiona in Shrek the Musical at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane. And after wowing audiences on BBC's Strictly Come Dancing, she returned to the stage in the official adaptation of Elf and also Big. Now she's reunited with her stage partner Jay McGuinness in the premiere of Sleepless in Seattle, which opens this April. Here to tell us more about this exciting new musical, please welcome to 11 stage and pop royalty, it's Miss Kimberley Walsh.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very good. I was loving that introduction. There's stuff I didn't even know about myself there. I was like, he knows more about me than me.
I was watching you while I was kind of saying out loud, and you were like nodding along really.
I was like, oh yeah, we did actually. Yeah, we did.
I'm actually quite good.
Yeah, I'm all right actually. I've done all right.
Well, thank you so much for being here. It's a real pleasure to talk to you.
No, thank
surprise,
you.
surprise, I'm such a big fan of yours. We're here at the Troubadour Theatre at Wembley Park to talk about this premiere brand new musical, which is so exciting, and it's very rare that you actually get to say premiere and brand new. So I guess you're in rehearsals at the moment, is that right?
Yes. Yeah,
so
we
how
are.
kind of far into that process are you, and kind of what's happening at the moment? Tell me everything.
Okay, so we are about 3 weeks into rehearsals, but you're completely right. I think the most exciting thing is to be part of, creating and, being the first person to play a role. I don't think I've ever done that. So this is a big one for me in that respect. Like, nobody else has played Annie. Like, I'm able to fully create her as a character, which is amazing. So yeah, and I do feel like, because it is a new musical, you're still creating the whole time. You're not just given a piece. Like, we're evolving it every day, and we've got so many amazing actors and creatives on the project that I feel like we're all just in this lovely creative bubble every day. Hopefully, making some genius theatre for you all to see.
Is it lots of kind of head in the script moment? Is it lots of watching the film, which we'll come to in a second? Kind of, I guess, where are you at in terms of your development?
So I feel like I know my script. I kind of watched the movie right at the start of this whole thing, just to remind myself of the sentiment and because
it's an amazing film,
right?
All.
Yeah, I
it's
love
so
the
good.
movie. I absolutely love the movie, and there's definitely a lot of that I want to bring to the show. I think it's so emotional and heartwarming and romantic, and I love that. Like, what's wrong with that? And so we're trying to bring that to the show, but I also want to do my own version of Annie, and obviously there's a lot more depth into their characters because we've got a bit longer and the songs and stuff, so there's loads to play around with. But I know my words, so that's great.
That's always a start.
Yeah,
I guess
it's a good starting point.
You'll get from start to hopefully
I'll get through the show at this point, but I'd love a few more weeks.
So is this an adaptation of the film on stage, or is this something that follows the same sort of story? I guess, what are the similarities and differences between the two?
So I think the book does follow the film fairly closely, although there's a few bits that kind of come at different points, and small things like my partner that I'm with at the beginning, Walter, we're already engaged when the movie starts, whereas that's kind of a big part of this plot is the proposal and stuff. So there are differences, but there's loads that you will remember, and it's definitely got that feeling of nostalgia, and also it's quite an unusual plot. So I think just the fact that the two leading characters don't meet till the final scene in the movie, and also that happens in the show, is so unusual. It's like the whole thing is just gearing towards these two people meeting, and it's like that sliding doors thing the whole time, and fate and signs and all of that bringing us together. But it's very unusual to not meet until the final scene.
You're like, wait,
even though she's
do I
madly
know
in
you?
love with him.
Sort of a bit like, I didn't even realise you were in this.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. Me and Jay are like, oh, what are you doing here?
In terms of this story, obviously people love the film. Like people are like, oh, it's my favorite film.
Yeah.
Or like, oh, I've got to see it just because of how much I obviously love you, or kind of both together. Is that exciting that people are kind of looking forward to coming to see this story? Or are you a bit like, oh gosh, don't tell me that 'cause it makes me really nervous? How do you approach it?
I feel okay about that. I kind of want them to have watched the film or, remember the movie, because there's always just that little hint of nostalgia, I think, helps. Even like when I did Big, I felt the same. I felt if people came to watch it and they hadn't watched the movie, I was like, oh, is that weird then? Because I knew the movie so well, and the same with Sleepless in Seattle, I know the movie pretty well. But I just think that, like, the fact that we've got songs and we just delve into those relationships and characters so much more, hopefully we'll just add to it a little bit more, and people will be so invested, hopefully, in Annie and Sam by the end, that they're just going to be like willing us to be together. And that's what I'm hoping anyway.
And you're reunited with Jay McGuinness, your kind of like stage partner. You've done so many projects together.
Call us Sonny and Cher of the musical theatre world.
That's camp. I like that.
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
like it.
That's good. I think there's so many other comparisons. You're like, we'll go with that one.
You can think of others. That's the first one that sprung to mind.
It was supposed to be like Bonnie and Clyde, but I think that's a compliment sort of somewhere along the way.
Yeah.
I guess working with him, he's amazing. We've obviously got to see him on Strictly as well. He's at every single word. So how do you guys kind of get on when you're approaching different projects? Are you kind of like, oh, we can build on the friendship we've got, or do you approach each one individually?
I think with this, it's just really nice that we've already got that connection and grounding, because we're not actually in that many scenes together. It's weird. We kind of already like working on ways that we can kind of show that chemistry even when we're not on stage together, which sounds weird, but I think the fact that we know each other so well really helps. Like there's certain little like personality things that I feel like we can mirror each other on and stuff. Like in real life, we're like bickering brother and sister, but on stage, our chemistry seems to be more believable as a couple. So that's what we're aiming for. Also for Jay, it's like a totally different role to him in Big. So for me, that's really interesting, because in Big, he's obviously playing a child, and now he's playing a widower. Like it's a really great like transition for him.
It's growth, quite literally
growth. Big growth. And also the first time that I've ever fallen in love with an actual man, although she still hadn't even really seen him when she falls in love with him, which is a bit odd, but I've fallen in love with an elf, an ogre, a child, and now she falls in love with a voice, basically. But
it's literally progress in your career.
It's theatre, we can get away with a lot.
Literally suspend your disbelief.
Exactly.
And you could say I only do roles that's just a little bit strange, or that could just become your thing now, right?
Challenging, I think we'll call it.
Sorry, challenging, yes. Yeah. Weird's probably not the right word. In terms of you getting to sing on stage and you getting to approach songs as a singer, is it sort of similar, but obviously because pop music is storytelling, but in a slightly different way. Is it the same, or is this for you, I guess, a completely different genre, and therefore you approach it differently?
Yeah. For me, musical theatre singing is completely different, but it's what I'm more comfortable doing. Like I felt like for pop, I had to really try to sound pop and like take away the vibrato and all these things, which in theatre they're like, oh, give me more. And I'm like, I've been used to like people in the studio like, can you lose the vibrato? So it's daft, but actually for me, it's a lot easier to sing in a musical theatre style,
Is that because you had your love of theatre, I guess, slightly before your success with pop? Is that because I guess that's what you kind of trained in? Yeah,
because I started singing in musical theatre style from like the age of 5, and that was really all I knew. And also part of it's just the type of voice that you've got, and it is quite a theatrical voice.
Have you tried to go back to singing pop now you've been doing music? Are you like, oh, it doesn't come...
Haven't really had to do much pop, but I feel like it would wreck my voice now to try and make it sound like a bit husky and take away all of those like inflections and stuff. Yeah, I think it would probably be weird.
Also, you're obviously a West End leading lady, so you're used to singing on your own, whereas if you've got other people with you, like, excuse me.
Sorry, who are you?
This is my number. It says my name at the top.
No, I do quite like whenever anyone else is singing with me, I'm like, oh, that feels a bit more familiar. A few harmonies in the background. It's always just me on my own. But I've actually got some great numbers in this show. Like my end of Act 1 number is like what I would considered to be like an end of Act 1, you know, like proper,
Has it got
like
punch?
yeah, it's real like showstopper, I believe they call it.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, she's off to get her man, da da da, and I'm like, I don't think I've ever done one of those before. I'm quite excited for that.
In any of the shows that you've done?
No, not like a real like triumph song, like
Yeah.
where you leave the end of Act 1 like, okay, she means business.
Wow.
She's going.
Because we'll talk about Elf in a second, but like you had to like roller skate and sing.
Yeah,
which
that
is
was
easy,
challenging.
right?
Yeah, no, that was really challenging. And just thinking, am I ever going to stack it in these
Did you?
rollerblades? No, but I stacked it on big with just normal shoes on. So, you know, you never know when it can happen.
Okay.
It's the magic of theatre.
So if the producers and director are kind of listening, this is Kimberley needs to be in rollerblades, not heels,
God,
basically.
don't. Yeah, I was clearly better at that.
I'll not give them any ideas.
No.
You mentioned the music there, so I want to talk a little bit about that because obviously this is the first time that we're getting to hear some of this score and getting to kind of really dive into it.
Yeah.
Kind of talk me through what sort of style is the music to the show?
So it's kind of very fitting to the time. It's like MGM big band.
Oh, wow,
like
okay.
the orchestra sound incredible. Like I'd learned all the songs and had no idea what the arrangements were. And then when we did the sits probe for the few previews that we did before Christmas, when I started singing my songs, I was like, wow, this is like, it changes everything. Like the arrangements are incredible. What I like about it is I feel like it all fits together really well.
Yep.
Like it kind of takes you back to a time and it all makes sense. The music goes with what's happening on stage and it just kind of works, I think, as a piece.
Are there any recordings of any of it from perhaps other people, or are you guys planning on recording it yourself?
There's some demo recordings from the initial few songs, but I'm hoping that we'll get to record some, because as being the sort of first proper cast, I'd love to get a cast recording of it.
I was about to say that would be amazing for
It
people
would be
to
really
get
nice
to have.
because the music does sound fab.
Well, fingers crossed for that, 'cause that would be
Yeah.
that would be pretty amazing.
Yeah,
to
it would.
A brand new piece and
Yeah.
forever, I guess, encompasses
To
on.
have that, exactly. It'd be a nice thing to have. For
That'd be
sure.
cool. One thing that I did want to talk to you about was when you casually made your West End debut at the Theatre Royal Drury Lane, which is a small off West End venue, right? I mean, that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that venue.
it was kind of ridiculous because I'd been in Girls Aloud as well, so there was a lot of pressure. And obviously I knew that I was kind of going back to my roots, but I did feel the pressure for sure. Like it was the first thing that I'd done outside of Girls Aloud. And like you say, it was like debut leading role at Drury Lane, the most humongous theatre, and also no previews because I didn't even know what previews
course,
were
'cause
then.
Amanda did it in the
I
UK,
wasn't in this world. So my first ever night was like my press night as well. Like it was just all
And
really
how many people
full
are in
on.
that theatre? Is it like 2,000
Yeah, it's
something?
a big one. It's like the second biggest in the West End. But my press night and opening night for that was like a concert because there was so many fans there. It was a bit weird. It was like the first time I came on, it was like, woo, rah, like screaming. Everyone that's like in the theatre and not used to it were looking around like, what is going on? This is a weird show. But kind of helped me through my first one.
And Princess Fiona is a pretty cracking role. I mean, like,
loved it.
literally, we obviously talk about film adaptations and everything, but that, like, Shrek is literally a staple of everybody's life. I mean,
Yeah.
I actually genuinely don't think I've ever met anyone that doesn't like Shrek.
No, it's
So
incredible.
to play her on stage in a DreamWorks production and that huge theatre and that huge set and those
Yeah.
songs, I mean, why would you choose to take on that role? It's so much pressure. Like, you must have been crazy.
Do you know what? When it first came about, I just started listening to the music and I just was like, this is so me. You know, that kind of dreamworky Disney,
Yeah.
like that type of music, like I just fall in love with. And also there's so much humor in her part, in her character, and I just was desperate to play that type of a role and just do something completely different. And it was quite terrifying. I didn't really think it fully through, but it really paid off because I feel like it showed from the start that I kind of was capable of doing that kind of role, and then people kind of accepted me quite quickly.
Yeah.
So that was good in a way.
So I was going to ask you about that because especially when it's the West End and it's a role that everybody knows, and obviously we know you from a slightly different medium, to then make that crossover, there's a real element of risk in there.
Yeah,
kind of,
there is.
I don't want to say prove yourself because that sounds slightly harsh, but I
Yeah.
guess you want people to like what you're doing,
Yeah.
right? Did you feel that pressure?
Yeah, no, I did. It's completely different. If you come in as a name like that, you feel like everybody's looking at you in a completely different way, which is a lot. It is a lot to
Yeah.
take on because you just want to play the part. But then when it does work out and you get like good reviews and you see that the cast are like you know, like happy with what you do, and then it feels really good. So then you're like, okay, I like this actually. This is great. I don't know what it'd be like if it didn't work out that way, but
imagine if they hated you. You'd
yeah,
be like, oh.
I think you'd know straight away, wouldn't you? If you weren't doing a good job, you'd get the vibe, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
You're wearing a green coat today, and I'm also wearing a green shirt, well, sort of greeny tinted coloured shirt. So it feels kind of relevant to ask about the makeup. So did you feel sexy in green, or
do you know what?
you just rolled your
I
eyes
felt
so much?
amazing being the princess, though.
Yeah.
I loved it. Like you said, like the costumes were incredible. Like you felt like an actual real princess. Like it was a weighty dress, you know. Like I loved putting that dress on every night, and my ginger wig. It was like just giving me every kind of life. But yeah, the green was so annoying because I got right to the end of the show and then got green. So it was kind of like every night it just annoyed me that little bit that I'd got so far without being green. But then sure enough,
quick,
I'm green.
right?
So quick.
Like insanely
yeah,
quick.
like 10 seconds, just slapping it on. And then you're like, oh, it's all in your hairline. You're like, hairline's just green the whole time you're in the show. But I didn't mind being the ogre. It was fun.
Yeah.
I don't take myself that seriously, so I quite enjoyed it.
Did you weirdly ever feel like people that play Elphaba in Wicked, the Green Witch, always say they feel slightly pretty? I mean, I know she's an ogre, but did you ever feel...
As the ogre, you don't.
No.
Believe me, you don't look pretty. I've never seen myself green, not without the prosthetic ogre things. I think there's been some definitely like pretty green Elphabas.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just that wasn't me. No.
Yeah.
No.
Because I've heard... I'm trying to think what TV show it was on. I don't think it was on Strictly. I'm trying to think where you sang Defying Gravity.
Oh, yeah.
What
I did,
TV show
I
was
did
that?
it on, I think it was like a Sport Relief.
Oh, yeah.
Let's Dance for
Yeah.
Sport Relief or something.
I think it was.
I feel like it was that.
Because you're an amazing singer. I mean, you could sing that role really well.
Yeah.
Would
Do you
you-
know what?
would you dare
I was
to do
thinking, somebody was chatting about Wicked the other day, and I thought, I actually think I'd like to do the other witch more.
Glinda?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Because she's so funny.
Yeah.
And then you can like have a life. You don't have to like go home and like go to bed straight away every night and like have literally no life, drink no coffee, no wine.
Yep.
Terrible, but you know, I think that's like a really big sing
Yeah.
to the point where it'd be like life changing for your family and everything. And I just think, oh, that's a lot. But Glinda's hilarious, and I could sing that quite easily.
And a bubble's quite fun, I imagine.
And a bubble, and she gets to dress up like,
Maybe the blonde.
You probably would be a bit envious of Elphaba during, but then when you could like have a glass of wine once in a while, you'd be like, oh, maybe I'm not that jealous actually.
Did you ever feel like that in Shrek when you were looking at how like Shrek's in like basically every scene?
Yeah, he had a tough job. And even Jay actually in Big, it was like full on because he had so much dancing. I do always get the slightly easier. Not in this show though.
No.
It's even Stevens in this one.
It's like karma that is for you saying
Yeah,
that.
it
You're
is
like,
actually. Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We're going to be back in 60 seconds. Welcome back to 11. Kimberley Walsh is here. Thank you for staying with me.
Thank you.
We've spoken about lots of different roles that you've played.
Yeah.
We mentioned Elf and Big as well. But then you also were on Strictly Come Dancing as well, which I remember watching you every week, and you were so amazing.
Oh, bless
How
you.
did being on that show as a dancer that time, a slightly different medium yet again,
Yeah.
kind of change your life and I guess teach you more about your talents and what you can do?
It was actually a really great experience for performance, and what I learned actually through Strictly. I found it much harder than I thought I would. I think you think, oh, if you've got rhythm and you can dance a bit, you'll be able to like blag it and make it look good. But it is such a different discipline to anything that I've ever done before that I found it really hard. But I loved it. Like, I absolutely loved learning a different dance every week. And I would like happily just go back and do it all over again.
Is it quite hard to be judged? So I guess 4 people have an opinion, the nation have an opinion.
Yeah.
Is it hard for other people to be critical of you?
I didn't think it would be. I didn't give it like enough thought. I was like, oh, I won't really care because dancing's not what I do. So I won't be so bothered by it, because if it was singing, it would be harder to take. But because it's dancing, I'm not like a trained dancer. I can probably take it. But it is still quite hard to take if they're sort of being harsh and you know you've worked as hard as you can. You're like, but I just can't do any better than that. Sorry. But as it went along, I think you just start to just enjoy the process and you don't really care about that so much anymore.
How much dance have you managed to do since the show? Have you kept it up a little bit, or?
I mean, any excuse that I can find to do it, I will do it. I'm like that sad. But it's hard to find times to do a bit of ballroom. I think obviously me and Jay managed to squeeze a bit in big, and they've even created like a whole finale, like homage to the 50s, like old school, like musical films, because Annie's obsessed with them in the show. So we're going to get to dance again.
Oh, wow.
Watch this space.
That sounds amazing.
I'm quite excited about that.
And that's at the end.
Yeah, so it's kind of our finale is this whole like sequence, 50s sequence, and we get to do some ballroom together.
Why do every show that you do you have to wait until the very end of the show to really work? Why?
Yeah, I know why.
Do it at the start.
I know that's so true. And then you're like all hyper and you can't sleep. Like you're all like, let's do this.
Are your friends and family always like, oh, you've been on Strictly, Kimberley knows how to dance, she'll do it? Do you always get like nominated dancer in your family basically?
I think they all know that I love dancing, to be honest, and I'm always like the first on the dance floor, whether it's good or bad. I've got no idea. Sometimes it's not great, probably, but I do love dancing. Now I'm sort of hoping that like my little sister might do Strictly at some point and I can live it again vicariously through her.
Yeah.
That would be fun.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
At least you know what she's going. You would know what she's going through, and you'd be like,
I'd be able
change
to help
this.
her. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
In terms of you've covered dance, you've covered pop and singing, you've covered musical theatre and acting. That's a real kind of mix of pretty much everything that you can do to really challenge yourself as an individual. Then, are you quite a challenging person? Are you quite critical of yourself? And I guess, do you think, yeah, okay, I'm absolutely really scared about doing this, that's why I should do it?
Yeah, I think so, because my family are constantly like, I don't know why you do it, how you do it. And I'm like, well, that's not how you think when you agree to something. When you agree to a new challenge, you think exactly that, like, this is hard, so I should do it to see if I can do it. And then it's when you're actually doing it that you're like, oh my God, why do I always say yes to these things? But then the payoff is great. And you do think, oh, actually, I can do it. And then you push yourself again and more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm just one of those people. But I am really self-critical. But then I think if you're not, then maybe you don't push yourself or care enough.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's a fine line between just like being not too harsh on yourself that you still enjoy and be present in what you're doing.
Are you critical enough that you would read what people write about shows? Are you a review reader?
I mean, I'd read it if somebody sent me it, or like if I like did a search, I'd be like, I'd have a read, but I wouldn't get obsessed and like seek them all out just in case they were bad. Like,
that can be hard, right?
It must be really hard. Like people tend to send you good reviews, which is probably ideal.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, thanks for that. I don't know though. Like as long as you kind of know what you're doing and you believe in what you're doing, I think you can accept it.
Yeah.
I think deep down, maybe you know if something's not great.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think being self-critical is a really important part of.
I'm not deluded. Yeah. So if they were like, okay, that wasn't great, I might be like, yeah, I kind of agree. Yeah. I'll see if I can work on that one.
Absolutely. Now the internet is awash with the next discussion point, so I want you to tell me the truth, and I don't want any lies. I've heard a rumor, and again, I don't like to go on rumors, but I've heard a rumor that there's going to be a Girls Aloud musical.
Oh, a musical.
Is this true?
I haven't heard that rumor, but I mean, a Girls Aloud musical could actually work. Our songs are quite theatrical, I think. They're not like typical pop songs. But I think if it was to ever happen, it would need some really clever creatives to make it work.
Yeah, definitely.
Be fun though.
Yeah, it's when you say it out loud, it actually seems like quite a good idea. You're like, well, yeah, actually, why isn't it a
what's
musical?
The plot going to be though?
Well, that's a very good question because I wrote down some ideas.
Okay, let's hear it.
And I was like, you'll hate all of these. But so I was thinking the name could be The Promise. So the musical could be called The Promise.
That's quite nice. Yeah. I quite like that because it's a good name.
Yeah.
Good title.
We could have one called Sound of the Underground. It could be about 5 underground workers and they all sing.
Right.
You don't look too impressed by that one.
Okay, I'm not sure about that.
What about if we called one Biology and it was 5 science nerds singing in a science lab? Think Rocky Horror.
That could work.
Yeah.
We sort of did that on stage for one of our tours, actually. Science lab situation.
Okay, that's a maybe. Or what about No Good Advice, a social worker that makes it big with 5 guardian angels?
I like the way you've thought outside the box on those.
Yeah, you're like, no, and
I like the name of The Promise.
Okay. Oh, yeah. At least we've
got a name for the musical that doesn't exist.
That'll be everywhere now.
Yeah.
Girls Aloud musical is happening.
Yeah, and somebody will start writing it somewhere.
Well, I love the fact that people see that in the group. I love the fact that people are like, of course, there's always still something else from there.
I didn't know that at all. I feel like no one's really that bothered anymore. But it's different when you're part of it because you don't see any outside perspective, really.
are you aware about what people write in terms of the group? Because they're always in the news. I mean, every time that any of you girls are there, people are like, are they coming back? Do they want to go back? Do they hate each other? Like, it must be nice even nearly 20 years later that we all still love you.
Yeah, I mean, I literally did some interviews the other day and just, they asked me, have you seen Nadine, have you seen Cheryl? And I went through and I'd seen Nadine not long ago, like a few days before. And then today there's like a whole double page spread that we've reunited. And I'm like, no, you made up the issue. Like, we do see each other sometimes, like it isn't like that deep. But I was like, wow, okay, that's where they're at with it. Fine. So I don't know. I suppose you do take it as a compliment that anyone cares, or that we're still kind of, like you say, present in some way as a group. Because I am really proud of what we were. Like, I would hate for it to just like vanish and disappear.
I mean, the fans will never ever let that happen.
No,
I mean, you only need to go to clubs and it's like they're still on.
And I love it. Anywhere that plays Girls Aloud's good for me. I like that cheesy vibe.
Have you ever been somewhere and you're like, they're playing my song? Like,
Yeah.
is it weird?
We used to go, me and Jay and the cast of Big used to go to the Phoenix bar by the theatre, and guaranteed a few Girls Aloud hits in there, which at first I was like, oh, this is weird. I never ever go out anywhere where they play them. But then actually it's quite fun. Yeah. You know,
absolutely.
pitted against a bit of Grease and whatever else. I was like, this is fun.
Well, it's a staple British thing now. Like, people they're just obsessed with it. Because you posted that BRIT Awards throwback, and this is where I saw it. And then it was suddenly like, Kimberley's confirmed everything's coming back. And I was like, that's not what she said at all.
I think it's because I think it's because I do those things like innocently and nothing's actually going on right now. Like, there is no plans. Yeah. But some people, I think, do those things intentionally. So they tried to second guess what you're doing. Like the Spice Girls did that a bit, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like they started posting pictures before anything was announced. So I think maybe I just don't think that.
Yeah, because I was going to say Nicola did say on This Morning about like the anniversary, and obviously that sent fans into frenzy.
Yeah,
that was kind of
they
the first
added
thing.
that to the story they wrote about me seeing Nadine. So they pieced it all together, but really it's all just separate.
Yeah. And why do people want you to hate each other as well? That's the thing. I'm like,
I don't know. I don't like that because like, you share that amount of time with somebody. Like, you don't have to be best friends and see them like every week after you finish. We're not working together anymore, but you don't want them to take away from the time that you had, which was good. And also, I'm just really not a negative person. Like, I wouldn't hold on to any negativity like that I had. I'd be like, just like move on. Yeah. And that's why I'd mentioned seeing Nadine, because I know people obviously do think there's a massive issue, and it was really lovely to see her like and catch up, and it was just we bumped into each other. It was a natural situation, and we've got so much to talk about because we're like sisters really. Like, at the end of the day, we shared such a massive part of our lives together that I'm always going to have love for them all. I just might not spend like all my time with them.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I say true fans, meaning true fans that know you all really well and love you, know that you get on. And I think that's what's nice.
We all had the same goal for the group, and that's all that mattered. Yeah. We don't have to like live with each other still. Yeah. Like, it's okay to have your own life after the group's finished.
I just imagine you guys having a WhatsApp group and just being like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Like, does that exist?
We don't actually have a WhatsApp. How do you say it? WhatsApp.
Yeah.
Cheryl and Nicola are not big WhatsAppers actually.
Okay.
So maybe that's why. Yeah. But no, there's a lot of love between us all, despite what I don't really care what anybody else says.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's
to be honest, because I know what the situation is, so it's fine.
And you all support each other. Like I know Cheryl came to your opening night of Elf. And everything. Like, I know she came to Shrek as well. Like, I'm sure they'll come here.
Yeah,
like, nice.
They will come and watch the show for sure, which will be nice.
And even if everyone else is like unsure, you've still got a massive fan in the Queen apparently. So I didn't realise that was a thing.
That is true. That story is true.
That's
I was
amazing.
quite excited. Yeah. I know that some like PR person probably just told her right before she came out, but I don't care. She still said it.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So, are you not on a break anymore? I was like, no, we're back. Hi. What about Nicola? Nicola's in the West End as well.
City of Angels,
Don't forget about Nicola. I'm excited about that.
That's amazing.
Very excited to see her debut too.
Definitely. And Josie Walk, the director, posted a video of her singing, and you're just like,
it's going to be
wow,
exciting.
Like it's amazing.
And
it's
we're
so
both
amazing.
like doing a show at the same time, which is really fun.
Maybe get all of you in the West End at the same time.
Yeah,
like, there's the reunion you wanted.
Different shows. Yeah, better if we're doing the same show, I suppose.
Very funny, because I'm going to let you go back to rehearsals. But
yes.
One thing that I wanted to ask you, so you've got record-breaking awards. You're known across the globe for your music, and you have an entire career on the stage. What's left on the wish list? What do you still want to tackle?
Do you know what? I don't really have anything left. I've been so spoiled in being able to do all the things that I've wanted to do. And I feel like now I've got my family. The kids are always going to come first. That's obvious. But any like little treats like this that I get to do that are a bit for me just feel like a little added bonus to life, you know.
Definitely.
It's me doing what I love doing, and it keeps me as me, and I can share that now with my kids, and they love it. Like, they really love learning about this whole new world and seeing that I do actually do a job, and they get it now. They didn't really know what I did before. So I'm just going to keep doing that, just choosing jobs that make me happy, and the rest of the time just try and be a good mum. That's what I'm going to try and do.
And practicing for your Glinda audition, which
and
is
then
happen.
practicing for Glinda. Yeah, I think it's there. It's there. I've got this.
Oh, well, definitely there. That was amazing. Kimberley, thank you so much. It's a real pleasure. The people in the room are literally dying at the moment.
I'll do a proper rendition once we got this off. It was a joy. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. We should say that Sleepless in Seattle is at the Troubadour, Wembley Park from the 24th of March.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You've been listening to 11, the official theatre podcast. Find out more about 11 at club11.london or via our official social channels.